Everyone's calling that fee proof of a crisis. It isn't proof of anything. The fee doesn't fix the actual problem, and the actual problem isn't the one anyone's talking about. Here's the honest version of the story people are telling. Pep Guardiola left this summer after a decade, 20 major trophies, the treble, all of it. City finished second, not first, for the first time since 2020. It's the first season since 2014 without Kevin De Bruyne, and the first since 2016 without Kyle Walker and Ederson. New manager, new spine, and now a record fee for a 23-year-old from Nottingham Forest. Read one way, that's a club rebuilding on the fly. Read that way, £116 million doesn't look reckless. It looks like a club trying to buy its way back to certainty. And to be fair, they didn't leave last season empty-handed. An FA Cup? An EFL Cup, both finals won. So this isn't a story about total collapse. It's something narrower and, honestly, more interesting. A team that could still win domestic knockout football in one-off matches with no room for error, but couldn't consistently protect a lead over 90 minutes in the league. Start with what actually went wrong. Manchester City didn't lose the title by getting outplayed. They lost it by not closing out matches they were already winning. In both draws, City scored first, controlled possession and territory, and still didn't get the win. The underlying shot data backs this up. This wasn't a chance creation problem. City could still create. What they couldn't do consistently was see a lead out. And it isn't limited to the draws. Away at Fulham in December, City raced into a 5-goal lead. Fulham clawed it back to 5-4, and City spent the last 20 minutes hanging on instead of putting the game away. They won that one, but won it while nearly losing a 5-goal lead is the same habit showing up in a different result. This wasn't a bad week problem, it was a pattern. So why did a team that could still create chances suddenly stop closing games out? Look at who left. De Bruyne's value was never just chances created, it was tempo, knowing when to slow a game down once City were ahead, when to draw a foul, when to waste 30 seconds instead of forcing a fourth goal. City replaced his production. Tijani Reinders and Ryan Cherki arrived for a combined £76 million last summer, and both create chances. Neither replaces that specific, unglamorous skill because it isn't a chance creation skill, it's a game control skill, and it doesn't show up in a highlight reel. And it's not because the goals dried up either. Erling Haaland scored 24 league goals, City's top scorer by a distance, one of the best individual seasons in the division. The finishing was never the problem. Even with the league's most dangerous striker doing exactly his job, City still couldn't reliably protect a lead once his goals had put them ahead. That's about as clean a signal as you'll get that this was never a firepower issue. It was what happened in the 20 minutes after City went ahead. And that's precisely the phase of the game De Bruyne used to spend controlling. So City spent last season creating chances, scoring goals, and still bleeding points from positions they'd already won. Two signings had already tried to fix it by adding more creativity. This summer, they tried a third time, with a bigger fee than the first two combined. Elliot Anderson is not a bad signing. On raw output, he might be the most complete two-way midfielder outside the traditional Big Six engine rooms last season. That's an engine room profile. Ball winning, high energy, box to box. It is not the same profile as game management, as knowing when to sit on a lead. Those are different skills, and this signing addresses the ones City didn't actually lose. This is the pillar that widens the crack, and it's not City's first attempt to fix this. Reinders arrived for £46 million last summer. Anderson is the third significant midfield investment inside 13 months. The pattern isn't a different kind of midfielder solves this. The pattern is more midfielders. Widen it past just the Premier League and the profile holds up. Across all competitions last season, Anderson made 50 appearances, took 61 shots, created 74 chances, and made 127 tackles. Every number on that list is about doing something with the ball or winning it back. None of them are about managing a game once you're already ahead. Nearly £200 million spent on central midfield in 13 months, on 3 players whose defining skill is action, not the specific, unglamorous habit of doing nothing for the last 20 minutes of a win. Anderson is an excellent player. That's not in dispute. But excellent isn't the same as correct. City's problem last season wasn't losing the ball in midfield. It was losing control of matches they were already winning. A British transfer record doesn't automatically fix a control problem. Sometimes it just means you paid the most anyone ever has to guess at the fix. None of this makes Anderson a bad buy on his own. It makes City's business look less like a plan and more like repeated pressure to spend on the position everyone can see, instead of the specific late-game habit nobody puts a price tag on. Is Elliot Anderson actually the answer to City's control problem? Or is £116 million just the most expensive way to avoid asking what the real problem is? Tell me why I'm wrong. If you want the next one of these the moment it's out, a club, a claim, the data that breaks it, that's what this channel does every week. Subscribe's right there.